Attention all citizens, Black Lives Matter chapters. How to stop police brutality. I, Jesha Miller, and the petitioner of the Constitution's checks and balances. I have the power, I have the authority to stop police brutality. My authority, meaning a person having the power to give orders and enforce obedience, control in a particular, typical, political, or administrative, comes from the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is what the people are entitled to against every government on earth, general or particular, and what no just government can refuse or rest on its inferiors. Here we have the Constitution's checks and balances. With all due respect to the protests of Black Lives Matter, that is not how you stop police brutality. The checks and balances hold police accountable, and that stops police brutality because they are not being held accountable. As you can see and read of the Constitution's checks and balances. Without the system of checks and balances, there would be a constant struggle between the President, Congress, and the Supreme Court. It is natural that each part of the government would try to expand their powers. Congress would start making laws that make it more powerful. The President would use his power of the armed forces to gain influence, and the Supreme Court would cut its deals with Congress by using its power to judge court cases. You might argue that no respectable politician would try unjustly gain more power, but this is not true. The politicians would easily justify this, and since there would be no system in place to stop them, they wouldn't be accountable. As the petitioner of the Constitution checks and balances, that is what I do. Hold them accountable. I'm empowered by the Constitution's checks and balances to uphold the integrity of the Constitution. They, as I said, are refusing to honor the Constitution's checks and balances in defiance of the Constitution, which is a criminal act. The Constitution's checks and balances are mandatory by law. And what you have here is they fail to uphold the Constitution. I just said they're refusing to honor the Constitution's checks and balances. The checks and balances uphold the integrity. You must be checked. If you've been called out, and I've called out the President with the Constitution checks and balances, I've called out Congress with the Constitution checks and balances, and no one has honored the Constitution checks and balances. That is in defiance of the Constitution checks and balances, which is an essential part of the Constitution. Now, the main state of that would be the FBI director. And as you see, and can read, FBI Director Christopher Wray must be held accountable for refusing to uphold the integrity of the Constitution. This reference petition for action. Director Christopher Wray must immediately order the Secretary of the Treasury, Stephen Mnuchin, to pay me at that time, which was $200 million. Next, enforce Jesha Miller's First Amendment right to freedom of the press, which is a game changer, exposing government corruption. That's right, exposing government corruption. And explaining to the public how to protect their rights by the use of the checks and balances. That's what I do as the petitioner of the Constitution checks and balances. As you check that First Amendment, I educate those and explain to you how to protect your rights. Go and look at that First Amendment. It'll tell you how to someone explain those rights to the public and to the people so that those rights are protected. And as y'all have protested time and time again to no avail, because you must use the Constitution's checks and balances. And here you have the FBI director not doing that. So he must be held accountable. He must be removed from office. Below is a petition to the FBI director, Christopher Wray, in which he is called upon. You see, the FBI mission, there we go, FBI mission, to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution of the United States. Violated its the 13th and 14th Amendments of the Constitution, so the Director Wray must be held accountable for delay in paying me and also protecting those rights. As you see, those three: combat public corruption at all levels, protect civil rights, combat major white-collar crime. You see, if you take these avenues on which the FBI director is held accountable, he must protect those rights. And in protecting those rights, it stops police brutality, because that is what the Constitution checks and balances does, check them so they are held accountable. Now, the crooked judges of which I speak upon, we once again, you can see that the president is called in, and President Trump commits crimes in violation of the Constitution and oath of office, imposing oppression, refusing to pay Jesha Miller $145 million, which is now $1,045 million. The judges, U.S. Attorneys Josh Minkler and Tim Horty, and politicians Todd Young, Larry Bouchon, and Paul Ryan's criminal offenses are listed below. As a veteran of the United States Air Force and petitioner of the checks and balances, it is me they must face, having the power to indict and arrest all criminal officials as well as media violating this First Amendment right to freedom of the press to conceal this from the public. There you can see that petition, Tuesday, November 27th, 2018. So, as I said, there is continued oppression. So, what you must do is hold them accountable. We must be united. We must come together, because the media is concealing this from the public. We must unite. Black Lives Matter. We must unite. NBA provide a platform. Major League Baseball provide a platform, so that I must inform the public. The National Football League, NFL, provide a platform so that the people are informed, because the media has concealed this from the public. This is how you stop police brutality, because the Constitution checks and balances hold them accountable. Now, as you've just seen, and must read again, to Joe Donnelly at that time, take Jesha Miller's petition using the Constitution checks and balances to the floor of the Senate to be acknowledged, of which he did not do. Then you have Todd Young to take to the floor of the Senate to be acknowledged and then acted upon. You have a petition for action that I've filed. The petition for action to the President of the United States. This is how we stop police brutality. So all those involved with Black Lives Matter, the NFL, Major Baseball League, and the NBA. We must join forces. You must give me a platform, because if the media, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and all other media outlets, including Washington Post, Washington Times, I am empowered, meaning I have the authority to hold them accountable. And I also must hold the media accountable for concealing this by not giving me the platform that is guaranteed in the First Amendment. This is how we stop police brutality. I ask all supporters, as the NFL, the NBA, CBS, or whoever supports the Constitution of the United States, to give me that platform so that I must present this evidence before the nation and stop police brutality, inequality, and social injustice. That is the power I have from the Constitution of the United States, which empowers the citizen. You see, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, so somebody has to hold them accountable. The government is not going to hold itself accountable, so in the Constitution there is that part where it empowers the citizen. I am the petitioner of the Constitution, checks and balances. I am empowered to do this, of which they have refused to respect my rights. So I join together and call upon the NFL, Baseball League, NBA, all of y'all to come together for humanity's sake. You see, it is for humanity's sake that we stop police brutality, destroying lives and taking them. It is for humanity's sake that we stop social injustice and inequality. That is what I'm empowered to do. And if you happen to see this, Doc Rivers, I know you don't have your position anymore, but you do have a position to give me a platform by informing the public and the media that I, Jesha Miller, am empowered to stop police brutality, social injustice, and inequality. This is what we have never had before. This where the Constitution empowers the citizen, and that is me. Then together we can stop all of these things and upgrade humanity for humanity's sake. Thank you.